it's really interesting to understand that about 8 or 10,000 years ago, our society, the culture we live in now, went through a revolution. And I think you could call it the herding revolution, where we started owning certain animals as property for food. It was wild sheep, and then wild goats, and then later wild cows, and then other animals. And this transformed very gradually our relationships, not only with animals, who were reduced to being mere products and objects to be used and enslaved, but also wildlife became pests, so that we have to, somehow kill off the coyotes and the bears and the bobcats and the prairie dogs. And then other human beings. We began to live our lives as consumers of animals. And this gave the arising of a wealthy elite class that owned most of the capital, which is the ancient Latin word for head, as in head of sheep and goats and cows. It gave rise to gavya, which is the ancient Sanskrit word for war. It means the desire for more cows. And this battle for property, for land, for resources, for grazing. I remember I used to teach in Plato's Republic. Socrates says very clearly, and if we want to eat meat, then we'll have to go to war, won't we? And they say, yes, we will. It was very well understood, thousands of years ago. And so this gave the arising also of slavery. The very first slavery on this planet was because of wars that were driven by animal agriculture. Whoever lost the war, the animals became the property, and the human beings who lost the war became the property of the victors. And we had the castration of men, so they would be easily controllable, just the way they did to male animals. And so this whole society was based on domination and exploitation and abuse of animals, and specifically of female animals. And it was based on generating a role model of the hard, tough, disconnected male who is capable of routine violence against animals and other men and going to war. And this warrior society spread, and it's been spreading ever since throughout the Eastern Mediterranean, the Northern Mediterranean, Central Asia and Europe, and really has spread ever since. And so I think it's important for us to understand that we've been born into this society. And this society is based on oppressing animals, enslaving them, eating them. And the most powerful ritual in any society are the meal rituals. And so when as little infants we sit down at the table, and we're not just forced to watch the adults eat the flesh and secretions of horribly treated animals, they make us eat it too. That's it. It shuts us down. It shuts down the natural sense of connectedness we have with a benevolent universe, and we realize that we have to kill to eat. We have to compete. We have to win so they lose. The strong get stronger. This whole inequity and violence and social injustice is rooted in these mealtime rituals that look, in our society, it's like, oh, just have a burger, just have a milkshake, just have an ice cream cone. That's good, that's healthy. That's what we do. And we don't see that this horrible abuse of other living beings that actually is abusing us as well. It's shutting down our natural capacity to create a society that reflects our true nature of love and peace and freedom. And so, food, the powers that be would love us to look at our meals as just no big deal. Just eat. Don't think about it. Just don't go deep. Don't think about that. Just stay shallow. Just stay shallow and don't question anything. And yet, if we want to create a society that's not based on war and violence and slavery for humans, we have to stop the war and violence and slavery that we're committing to billions of animals every year, and give them what we would like to have for ourselves, and then we will be worthy to have these things for ourselves.